Hi everybody, Ryan here again with Berserk Custom Paint, and today's video is going to focus on the pros and cons, what you're going to want to look for in your water-based paints and with your urethane-based paints. And if you're trying to figure out which direction you want to go, I suggest going both directions and familiarizing yourself with both. But if you can't, this is going to help you decide between the two where you want to start. First of all, I'm going to talk about the urethane, which is what I like to use. That's my paint of preference, and that's House of Color. When you buy them in these small bottles like this, it's perfect for airbrush users. House of Color is typically meant for custom painting. That means painting on cars, motorcycles, any kind of metal surfaces or plastic surfaces or something like that that you're going to end up putting a clear on top of, just like you see with automotive. So if that's the direction you want to go in and you don't have the waterborne paints yet in your shop or whatever, then go ahead and keep playing with those House of Color brands. House of Color has a new line called Shimmer and Twos. The Shimmer and Twos have a very low VOC content, so it's legal in all 50 states, so you can still shoot it in your shop if you need to. And when it comes to those real custom colors, those real vibrant, those hardcore, the colors that just make you want to, how did they do that? It's always House of Color every time. So like I said, you want to keep, even if you are using the waterborne paints and you're trying to make a living at custom paints, still go ahead and keep a good collection of the House of Colors in your shop, because I mean that's what's going to do it for you. There is another alternative though, and that's called Wicked. Wicked is a water-based paint. Wicked is good also for automotive. A lot of people like to use it for automotive. I'm not one of those people, but that don't mean that I'm right or wrong. It's just, like I said, a preference thing. Wicked is not only good for automotive, though. Wicked is really good for canvas and for t-shirts. For you fine artists who just like to paint maybe in an art studio and you're airbrushing more as an expression of your art, then Wicked is really something you're going to want to use. The new Wicked line is a lot finer. If you've used Createx in the past, which is the company that makes Wicked, and you've noticed that maybe you couldn't get that fine detail, maybe you had problems spraying it through your smaller tipped airbrushes like the custom Micron, Iwata Micron, then you've probably noticed that it doesn't work as well as maybe you've seen me use in my videos or other people use. That's with the Createx. But Wicked, on the other hand, now has this new line that is milled down smaller. Meaning the pigments, the granules that make up the pigment, the color in the in the paint itself is ground down to a much finer I guess grain, so it's able to fit through the Micron airbrush and get that super fine, super small detail. You can also reduce the new Wicked paint down as far as you could ever reduce with the urethanes. So yeah, Wicked is something you're going to want to try out. Now, I've gotten a lot of people, they've posted comments up on my videos saying, oh, I've had clogging issues, I've had this problem, you keep blaming the paint. Well, guess what? The paint is not who's to blame. It's you. Maybe you're not cleaning your airbrush out properly, maybe your airbrush is damaged in some sort of way, maybe your paint mixture was dirty, you got some kind of contaminant in it. There's a million other things that you could have gone wrong with, and the reason I know that is because they both work for me. And I don't have issues. Now, I did have issues with the Wicked paint when I first started using it, because I'm a urethane guy. When I switched over, or not necessarily switched over, but when I started using the Wicked paint, I kept getting clogging issues. I couldn't spray it properly. I got frustrated. I actually started calling Createx every day saying, hey, what's going on? You guys wanted me to try out your paint, and I don't like it. It's clogging my airbrush. And really what that was is my habits were so adjusted to urethane habits, which is a lot more lenient as far as cleaning your airbrush is concerned, because you can leave a urethane in your airbrush for a couple days at a time and it's not going to affect anything. You just throw a little reducer in there, run some lacquer thinner through it, and you're fine. Water-based paints, that's not the case. You have to stay on top of cleaning your airbrush. You have to clean it at least twice a day if you're painting all day long. Always clean your airbrush thoroughly with, I think Wicked has their own cleaner. Sometimes you can use Windex or something like that to clean your airbrush out thoroughly at the end of the day. because if those granules or if some residue, paint residue, dries up in your airbrush, it's going to cause some clogging issues. Now, if you feel like you've cleaned it out good enough and you're still getting the problem, you probably haven't cleaned it out good enough. There is a fluid nozzle tip if you use an Iwata. That's the only airbrush I use, so it's the only one I'm familiar with. But at the very, very tip of your airbrush, there's that little, in fact, I'll go ahead and unscrew this for you. At the very tip of your airbrush, there's that little fluid nozzle, I guess is what they call it, or fluid nozzle tip, or whatever they call it. This little piece right here is where you're going to get some paint residue buildup. So I suggest taking it off, unscrewing the tip of your airbrush, and running an old needle through it like a plunger. Now you want to be careful when you're running this old needle through your airbrush because you don't want to damage the fluid nozzle because it's a very temperamental piece and it's also very expensive. So just be very light and run your needle through it, and if it feels spongy at all or maybe it feels rubbery, that means you've got some buildup in the tip of there. So just go ahead and run some of the solvent like the glass cleaner or the Wicked solvent and go in and out of that fluid nozzle until you feel like your needle is running through it cleanly. Now you can test that by holding your fluid nozzle up to the light, looking through it, and if you can see light through it, then it's probably clean enough. You can also spin it and see if maybe there's some residue built up on the walls of that thing. You might need a magnifying glass for something like that if your eyes are bad. So anyway, I'll go ahead and demo a couple of the paint products for you so you can see just exactly how they work. So here we go. Okay, first one I'm going to show you, I've got House of Color in here. This is on canvas, so Wicked is probably going to look a little bit better this time around. But I'm just going to show you how it sprays out of my airbrush. I've got it about 75% reducer in here to 25% actual paint. And first thing I always recommend is to shoot off on another surface and test your pattern first. See if it's spraying the way that you like it. Once you get it the way that you like it, go ahead and start with a shape. Let's go ahead and do a face or something. Start with a circle, just like I showed you in my other videos. We'll put some shadow in there for eyes, nose, there's his mouth, forehead, hair, ears. Okay, so I got that much worked out. This is all House of Color so far. Now I'm going to do the other half of his face with the Wicked so you can see how the two look side by side. The House of Color was very over-reduced, so that's why it looks real gray. I could actually go ton shades darker if I wanted to, but I don't really want to take it that far right now. I'm just going to go ahead and do the other side. Okay, so I just put my Wicked in there. This is the water-based paint. I've got it reduced down pretty far, so I'm just going to go ahead, spray off the side of my canvas. I'll just spray right here so you can see it. This is the pattern that the Wicked's making. As you can see, it's a pretty good pattern. It's very transparent. That's the way I like to work. When I do want to get into my darks later, I'll just add black to my mixture. So let's go ahead and throw some Wicked on here. Now, sometimes if you leave your airbrush alone like I just did, you're going to get a tip drying issue. That's real big with the water-based paints, so just grab your needle with your fingers like that, twist, and pull the chunks off the tip of your needle. You want to try to keep it clean as much as possible. Well, that's as far as I'm going to take this one right here. I didn't use any reference on it. I was just trying to demo my thing, so I'm just making stuff up. Yeah, but as you can see, side by side, the House of Color, which is mostly on this side, and the Wicked, which is mostly on that side, they're pretty close to the same, you know. So it's just whatever you want to do. Like I said, when it works on automotive, when it comes to your candy colors and stuff like that, House of Color is the best way to go. But if you're going to do fine art, and with automotive too, because Wicked works hand in hand with Auto Air colors, which have their own candy lines. That's the water-based candy. So, yeah, I mean, they're both pretty cool. So I say play with both of them. Get to know them both. So, thanks for watching, guys.